Nicole Wallace nails it on this one. First of all, she brought in Liz Cheney, who admonished Republican politicians, those Republican politicians who should know better, those Republican politicians who continue to stick with Donald Trump. And she then pointed out the before and after about how these guys spoke, which shows that not only don't they have any spine, but that they have no morals. So I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
We take our oath to defend the United States Constitution, and that oath must mean something. Tonight, I say this to my Republican colleagues who are defending the indefensible. There will come a day when Donald Trump is gone, but your dishonor will remain.
It will remain forever. Hi again, everybody. It's 5 o'clock in New York. It is a phenomenon that will be studied for years, for decades, on both the political level and human behavioral level. How Republican after Republican after Republican after Republican has abandoned their morals, their previously stated standards, their compass to openly embrace the criminally convicted, grab them in the bleep, twice impeached ex-President Donald J. Trump. Republicans, with the exception of a precious few, have seemingly happily and eagerly handed Donald Trump the keys to the castle of a political party that once stood for and saw itself as believing in law and order and believing in a strict adherence to the Constitution and cherishing character. Members of the Republican Party have now hitched themselves to all of Donald Trump's vulgarity, all of his autocratic impulses, his stated desire to use the military on American citizens, his flagrant misogyny, his out in the open racism, and his appetite for violence. Once going so far as to incite a deadly insurrection against them, against the U.S. Capitol. In stark contrast to the courage displayed by former Chief of Staff General John Kelly, who wanted to remain apolitical but felt driven to speak out, these men and women know deep down the danger that Donald Trump poses to the country. They know exactly how his policies and his utterances run antithetical, not just to the Republican Party, but to the country, to the Constitution. We know that in this instance because they have said it. Take Donald Trump's handpicked running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, who made a 180-degree switcheroo.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
I got the easiest job in politics because all that I have to do is go out and remind the American people that Donald Trump was the president of peace and prosperity.
And there's Kevin McCarthy, former speaker.
I've had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that, and nobody should defend it.
I will support the president. I will support President Trump.
And speaking of beclownment, here's Lindsey Graham.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for. This is the toughest guy I think I ever met. He's the modern version of Teddy Roosevelt.
I'm sorry. Then there's the group of folks who ran against Trump in 2016 or even earlier this year. But once they realized they weren't going to defeat him, they jumped on the Trump train full throttle.
I bet you all know, you all have friends. You all have friends that are thinking about voting for Donald Trump. Friends, do not let friends vote for con artists.
By giving voice to everyday Americans, President Trump has not just transformed our party, he has inspired a movement.
Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone.
God bless Donald J. Trump.
Donald Trump was totally unhinged. Unhinged.
I'll start by making one thing perfectly clear. Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period.
Why? And it's not just them. Very influential voices in right-wing media, another group of people who know better, also hide their disdain for the ex-president from their viewers, from Republican voters, while touting him proudly and condemning people like me and anyone who criticizes Trump on their airwaves. We know from the Dominion lawsuit against Fox News that Tucker Carlson describes Donald Trump this way in a text message to his colleagues, quote, "He is a demonic force, a destroyer. But he's not going to destroy us," Tucker Carlson texted. "I've been thinking about this every day for 4 years." clearly not the same message he pushes publicly.
This is the most responsible, unifying behavior of a leader I think I've ever seen. I do think the entire point from the famous escalator ride 9 years ago until today of Donald Trump's public life has been to remind us of one fact, which is a leader's duty is to his people, to his country, and to no other.
And there are some others, like Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who publicly say they'll support the Republican Party's nominee no matter what he does, but save their most damning assessments of Donald Trump for the confines of private, thankfully recorded interviews. In a new book by journalist Michael Tackett, Mitch McConnell describes Donald Trump as, quote, stupid, as well as being ill-tempered, a despicable human being, and a narcissist.
So you have to ask your question. If these are Republicans who think all of this about Donald Trump, and if they have convinced you that it's all okay, the reason why so many good Republican people support the former thug in chief, they support him because they think it's all made up. They support him because they think it's okay. They are following their leadership. One of the reasons you don't see me really hitting a lot of these cultists so hard is because, again, there are many who follow the lead of their pastors, follow the lead of their politicians, because they don't feel themselves sufficiently educated on issues, so they follow those they trust. Now, what we're showing you is that those that you trust are pretty much untrustworthy. But there's another part of humanity, and that is when you are so vested in something and find out that you're wrong, you try to find every single inkling that you can hold on to before you release that chain that is holding you on to immorality, that chain that is holding you on to the wrong person, that chain that is holding you hostage. And what we expect from many, and specifically women this cycle, because they now have a real choice in Kamala Harris, what we're expecting is that they will make the right choice, that they will go out there and say, we just cannot have this. We cannot have a thug as the person that represents our country. We cannot have a convicted criminal. And after all, look how they have so fooled us. Folks, we got a lot of work to do. You have to go out there and make sure you inform. And for those that are unable to be informed, you go out there and find those who know what's best for the country, what's best for themselves, and what's best for their families, and do the right thing. This is Kamala Harris's race to win.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.